iDubbbz just released a brand new video about Creator Clash 2, basically saying the harsh realities of Creator Clash 2, saying how the event didn't go as planned and it lost so much money. It actually lost $250,000. And as a result of that, zero of the charities actually got any money.
It's best to be transparent. For Creator Clash 2, despite it being a fun event and despite good fights and a lot of creators sacrificing a lot of time, money, and energy, we lost $250,000 on the event. The way that this typically works for anyone who's unaware is that once our expenses are paid off for the event, like all the minimums of broadcasting, the hotel, travel, all that sort of stuff, once that's all paid off, then we can start paying the charities. Unfortunately, we didn't even reach the break-even point, right? We're $250,000 in the red. I foolishly thought that the success of last year should be a minimum.
So obviously you can see from that no charities got any money, and that is the really kind of bad part, sad part of this whole thing, is that this entire event, when it was being talked about, when it was in the works, when people were criticizing it before it even happened, the whole thing was, this is for charity. You can't hate on this because it's for charity. How dare you talk bad about charity? But now we know that charities didn't get anything. They were used as a way to try to promote this thing, which, I mean, he didn't even do that, but it was used as kind of a way, like, to bulletproof this thing so that people weren't allowed to critique it because it's for charity after all. But now, charities didn't get any money. They're $250,000 in the hole. Charities get nothing, and here we are. And there were a lot of things that led to this ending, where there was no money for charities. There's a huge loss, and it's a lot on iDubbbz and I think his wife. These guys were the ones in charge promoting, which they didn't even really do. But this is some of the things that they didn't do, that weren't done right. So this is someone saying he uploaded this video and doesn't even feel good to be right about this, but he didn't promote the event, kicked people out for minor tweets, and charities didn't make a dime. So those are the big things, right? And it's directly from iDubbbz that this happened, where he didn't even promote it. He really didn't. There was no promotions, no conferences or anything. Like, you think KSI, Logan Paul, that types of stuff, or like any KSI fighter. There's the big talking points, the promotion events. That didn't happen for this. And then you also have that he kicked people out. I think it was Froggy Fresh. I don't know exactly what his name is, but it was that guy who got kicked out because he made an OnlyFans joke about his wife. And the joke was like literally him saying he was going to subscribe to her OnlyFans. And iDubbbz got super upset about that, kicked him off of the entire event, kicked him out, and that got a lot of people upset. And that made a lot of people not want to support the event anymore. And it's weird because iDubbbz says he's so secure and such a great guy, and OnlyFans doesn't matter. But all it took was someone saying they're going to subscribe to your wife's OnlyFans, and then you got all upset and kicked out. It seems like you might actually care there. And now this has led to this types of stuff here where he's on a blocking spree, right? Apparently blocking anyone who was kind of calling him out and talking bad about the event or saying the event's going to be bad. And now that they're kind of proven right, he is blocking everyone on the blocking spree, not wanting to face the fact that it's not what he says in his video. In his video, he says that the pirating's the biggest issue, which sure, pirating's always an issue, but other events have pirating issues too, and they still find ways to make money. So you can't put it all on that. You have to look at what you did yourself, the way you didn't promote this event properly, because if people weren't sitting in Twitter spaces with Keemstar and this Froggy guy talking when the drama was going down, no one would have known this event was going on. And if you didn't kick him off the card, then you wouldn't have all the people upset at what you were doing for some joke being made, and you would have probably had more people supporting again. So it's more decisions that iDubbbz made that had effects on this. It wasn't just, you can't just throw it all on pirating and say, we did our best, and it's the pirates. The pirating, they're the ones who to blame. At the end of the day, every single event has to deal with pirating, so you're not special in that sense, and every event figures out a way to either combat pirating or actually still make money while having pirate streams out there. So you're not special here. And this is, Froggy, his response to this, it's just kind of him singing a song about iDubbbz, saying, put him in a cage match, basically him versus iDubbbz to make some money for actual charities this time, which I could see being something because there's a lot of drama there. I think if they actually promoted this, maybe it could do something, maybe something could get done. But at the end of the day, this is another event you have to put on, more costs you have to put on. And will you make money and actually be able to give money to charities like you're going to promote the thing on? Who knows? Are you willing to take that risk? It's kind of insane. But I do think this could be an outcome, and this is his response to it, which isn't surprising, right? They have some beef there, not the biggest fans of each other. But on the other side, you also have people who, like Myth here, who I believe was involved in Creator Clash. He fought someone in there, talking about saying absolute brain rotten losers, celebrating that a charity didn't do well in the comments. And for that, sure, if I didn't go through Dexerto's comments here, but if there's people celebrating that the iDubbbz thing did bad, I guess you could turn it on them and say, God, what do you hate, charity? Because that's the defending point, right? But there's an interesting thing here for Myth, for iDubbbz say every fighter got a stipend of $20,000 to do their training and pay for that stuff. iDubbbz says that's the minimum. That's, the basic amount, and they're probably going to blow through that and they're spend more. But when you look at people like Myth, he is well off, right? He's got money. Let's not kid around here. And if we look at the creators in this, he says there was 24 creators. If they all got $20,000, that's $480,000. If you take away the loss, you would magically have $230,000 in the green to give to the charity. So for people like Myth who are virtue signaling on Twitter for free, you could give the money back. You could give the $20,000 back and get all the fighters around, give the $20,000 back, bring Creator Clash 2 into the green, and get the money for the charities, because at the end of the day, it's all about the charities, right? Or are you just virtue signaling on Twitter because you know this would be a popular thing to say, and you can do this for free while keeping the 20 grand, while keeping your training fees? Well, if charity really mattered, give the money back. Get the rest of the fighters to give the money back. I don't know every creator who was in this thing, or how big they are, or if they're well off, but if you could all come together and give the money back and say this is for charity because this is the hill you're standing on, then give it back, and money would actually go to charity. But we all know that actually requires people to actually stand on values, which they're not actually willing to do. They're willing to tweet about it. That's free. But they're not willing to give that money back. That's in their pocket. They're not giving that thing back. They've sacrificed too much. They couldn't make their YouTube videos. They couldn't do their streams. But charity, they'll defend, say, this charity, you can't talk bad. It was for charity. And when confronted, if you said, okay, this is for charity, the event was run poorly and did bad, give the money back and make sure that some money makes its way to charity. That's just too much to ask for. But at the end of the day, iDubbbz kind of made the biggest decisions that led to this being a pretty big failure and losing $250,000. Don't think you can blame it all on piracy. That's an easy cop-out to not have to look at what you did wrong and fix that if you ever want to do this again, or realize that you just made some mistakes and you did business wrong this time. So, to look at that is the better way to go about it. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.